Physical conditioning in futsal has become as indispensable as technical and tactical preparation of the players. Futsal is a physiologically intense sport, not only at the musculoskeletal level, but also at the cardiorespiratory level, as well as other functional systems. This is a function of the dynamic nature of the game and the dimensions of the court on which it is played. The objective of physical conditioning is to improve the level of fitness of the players, focusing on speed, strength, flexibility, and coordination. Coaches must adopt training methods geared to achieve the players' maximum performance, requiring them to go beyond their limits. Professor Ricardo Leao, author of this video course, will speak to us a bit about the objective of this work.
In this video course, we will present a practical approach to conditioning for futsal, bringing the elements that will allow control and development of all the physical requirements for the sport. It will be left to the conditioning coach to customize the program, controlling the amount of work, intensity, and the way in which the determined physical component is worked on in each training session.
This video course is divided into 2 volumes. In the first volume, the following physical components of conditioning will be addressed: coordination abilities, flexibility, aerobic endurance, lactic and alactic anaerobic endurance, general and localized muscular endurance and strength, general strength, dynamics and explosiveness, and speed. The second volume will present training tips for warm-up and stretching, for practices and games, as well as fitness testing, evaluation of the physical component through testing. The objective of this simple and practical method is to demystify conditioning, bringing it into the coaching context, for example on courts, in grandstands and fitness rooms, on tracks, and even in areas outside of those normally associated with coaching. The coach responsible for the physical development of the players will be able to execute a plan and schedule using the tests, exercises, and activities suggested here, duly controlling volume, intensity, and duration of stimuli. Physical components of sports performance in futsal. Coordination abilities. The coordination of movements, taking into account the age of the players, different muscle groups being used, nerves and sensory organs that will produce precise and balanced kinetic actions with rapid reactions to the various situations in the game. Components of coordination abilities. Basic coordination abilities. Motor control. This ability is based on components of the coordination of kinesthetic differentiation, spatial orientation, and balance. Motor learning. This depends on motor learning ability and, to a greater extent, motor control ability. Motor adaptation and readaptation will depend on apprehension and the treatment and retention of information. The most commonly considered classification system is that of Hertz, which is broken down into 3 basic coordination abilities and to the 5 fundamental coordination abilities. Spatial orientation, the ability to perceive spatial modifications as they affect the execution of movements. Kinesthetic differentiation is the ability to control information coming from muscles and to retain only the most important information and therefore control the force exerted. Reaction. The ability to react and the ability to quickly analyze the situation and apply the most adequate motor response. Rhythm. Rhythmic ability is the ability to fashion a certain cadence to the performance of a movement, or to pick up such a cadence when performed by others. Balance. The ability to maintain a position, even under pressure, or to regain a position quickly when lost. Take a look at some practical examples of activities that develop coordination abilities. Free movement on the court according to the professor's signals. Jump and grasp the knees to the chest. Sprints. Bend at the knees and touch your hands to the ground, alternating the left side and the right side. Slide. Roll. Jump with header. Run around the cones, followed by a sprint. Skip. Raise one knee and touch the ground with both feet simultaneously. Run with high knees. Lean torso forward. Rapid leg movement, lifting the legs towards the back. Run using wide steps, big jumps. With the torso completely extended forward, rapid movement, stomping the feet with alternating elevations of the hip. Lateral movement with twisting of the legs and hips, working the bilateral. Circuit training. Circuit training is an easy procedure for working coordination abilities within a short time and space. Station 1. Run forwards and backwards. Move and cut while moving sideways. Station 2. Lateral jumps and skips. Station 3. Jumps with legs together, forward and backward. Station 4. Hopscotch, fast and slow. Station 5. Step on top of a platform, simultaneously touching the floor and platform, alternating from right side to left side. Station 6. Lateral jumps, left leg and right leg. Ball activities and fundamental techniques. Coordination abilities can be developed at the same time as technical elements. Flexibility is the ability to carry out a full range of movements with ease, speed, and recovery, and depends on muscular elasticity and articular mobility. Now take a look at some examples of flexibility activities. Individual static flexibility. Standing up. With both legs spread far apart, bend forward at the waist, holding the extremities of both legs with your hands. Take a position similar to the previous exercise, but the hands and torso turn to the right leg. Repeat the same exercise, but turn to the left leg. Stretch the quadriceps. Bend the knee, holding your left foot to your buttocks. Repeat the same exercise, but with the right foot. Keeping both legs straight, bend forward and down at the waist without bending your knees. Repeat the same exercise, but slide your right leg over your left leg. Repeat the same exercise with the left leg over the right leg. With both legs separated, bend your right leg forward, forcing your hips in the direction of the ground, supporting yourself with your hand on your knees or on the ground. Repeat the same exercise with the left leg forward. Calf stretch. With the right leg straight and the left leg semi-bent, bend forward and down at the waist, reaching with your hands and holding your right leg. Repeat the same exercise, but hold the left leg. Sitting and lying down. With the legs spread far apart, bend forward and down at the waist, holding the extremities of both legs with your hands. Take a position similar to the previous exercise, but the hands, torso, and head turn to the right leg. Repeat the exercise holding the left leg. Take a seated position with the right leg bent behind and the left leg semi-straight. Lean back as if you were going to touch your back to the floor. Repeat the exercise, inverting the position of the legs. Hold your bent legs to your torso with your back flat on the ground. Quadriceps stretch. Lying on your side, bend your knee holding your right foot to your buttocks. Repeat the exercise, changing sides with your left leg. Seated, bend your left leg, bringing your foot to your right leg, which is straight. Bend forward at the waist, holding the extremity of your right leg with both hands. The same exercise should be done with the left leg. Seated, bend your legs simultaneously so that the soles of your feet are touching. Use your hands to slowly press both knees in the direction of the ground. Flexibility, method of proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. First movement. The player stretches a muscle group to its limit with the help of a partner. Second movement. The player contracts the muscles, pushing back against the partner. The partner stabilizes the movement, not allowing the player to completely contract that muscle group. Third movement. The player relaxes and gives in, and the partner should reach a greater degree of stretching range for the muscle group being worked. After the third movement, repeat the second and third again. Hold each movement for approximately 8 seconds. Flexibility, method of proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, sitting and lying down. With your legs spread apart, bend forward and down at the waist, holding the extremities of both legs with your hands. Partner pushing the torso forward from behind or pulling the player's hands from the front. With the back flat on the ground, bend the right leg to the torso. Partners standing up or crouching, pushing the legs against the player's torso. Repeat the same exercise with the left leg. Quadriceps stretch. Bend your knee holding your right foot to your buttocks. Partner crouched, pressing the player's leg to the gluteal. Repeat the same exercise on the other side with the left leg. Seated with your legs spread apart, bend your knees. Press both knees with your hands in the direction of the ground. Partner crouching behind the torso of the player, pressing the legs and knees down. Endurance is the ability that the body possesses to tolerate an activity, delaying the appearance of fatigue. Aerobic endurance. This endurance is associated with prolonged performances of low or medium intensity and assumes a balance between the oxygen that will be necessary for the muscular work and that which will be displaced from circulation into muscle tissue. Metabolism. Lipid and aerobic glucose. For training, the players should use soft inserts in their shoes to minimize the impact on ankles, knees, and the spine. Let's take a look at some practical examples of activities that develop aerobic endurance. Aerobic endurance. Continuous basic running. These activities can be done on athletic tracks, around the training location, with predetermined times and distances. Continuous fartlek running. In the basic preparation period for free running, streets, forests, parks, and varied terrains are motivating and enable work with great physical demands with predetermined times and distances. Running at intervals. Running with variation of intensity and speed. Running with different speed. For example, 1 or 2 laps at 14 kilometers per hour and 1 lap at 12 kilometers per hour consecutively until completing the predetermined amount of work. Circuit training. Various stations non-stop. The coach should define the time for each station and rest periods. Winding movement, zigzag. Free run. Run between sticks on the right side and the left side. Run through cones with front skip. Jump over the cone and go under the obstacle. Backwards running. Running through hoops with right foot and left foot. Go through all the stations again. Mixed stations with switches after a set period of time. Station 1. Jump rope. Station 2. Ball handling in a determined space. Station 3. Running sideways through hoops, followed by lateral coordination using cones. Station 4. Jog around the court. Station 5. Jump rope. Station 6. Exchanging passes while moving. Aerobic endurance. Technical training. Tactical with high volume and low to medium intensity. Game. 3-on-3 with a goal inside the penalty area. This is appropriate for small courts, with all players required to be on the area of the court where the ball is. If a player is not on the same half of the court when a goal is scored, the goal can be doubled if it is a defensive player that is out of place, or deleted if it is an offensive player. Game. 4-on-4 with a goal inside the penalty area. This is appropriate for large courts. Use the same rules as the 3-on-3 game with a goal inside the penalty area. Anaerobic endurance. Anaerobic endurance is efforts of short duration but high intensity. Examples: jumps, kicks, starts, falls, shots, and so on. These exercises are so intense that one quickly falls into oxygen deficit. This means that the oxygen spent through effort is greater than what our blood can produce. This debt will be repaid once the work is finished in the recovery period. When talking about anaerobic endurance, we must distinguish between two types that come from different energy sources. Lactic anaerobic endurance is that in which intense efforts of 3 seconds or more are carried out, not giving time for the muscle to recover because the blood fills with lactic acid. When this happens, it negatively affects the performance. For this reason, there should be a period of rest before beginning another activity. Alactic anaerobic endurance. As its name indicates, there is a lack of lactic acid. Exactly what happens is that the duration of the exercise is so short that there is not enough time for lactic acid to accumulate in the blood because the effort used is as intense or more intense than the previous. Examples can be all exercises which do not exceed 15 to 20 seconds, a shot on goal, a goalkeeper's throw-in, or a simple jump. Let's look at some practical examples of activities that develop anaerobic endurance. Lactic anaerobic endurance. The development of lactic anaerobic ability will come as the result of partial and insufficient recovery. We can work speed endurance by resting adequately between stimuli and recovery. Basic running can be carried out on athletic tracks or anything similar that has known distances. Basic running of 200 and/or 300 meters. Working with cones. Sprints, running to cones of different distances apart, similar to running during a game. Move to the first mark, return to the starting point. Move to the second point, and return to the starting point again, and so on until the set is completed. This is followed by an active recovery with an aerobic jog after each set of exercises. In the example shown, the total length of each set is 86 meters. Technical games. One-on-one activities. Ball protection. Pass the opponent by dribbling or dodging, winning a point when passing the opponent's end line. Technical training, collective tactics. Technical training, tactical as well as group, represent the main means of development of anaerobic ability. While requiring maximum intensity in all the exercises, the coach must be careful not to push the players to exhaustion. General and localized muscular endurance and strength is the muscular ability to tolerate repetitive sets of a large number of exercises with a minimum deterioration in the performance, or the maximum number of times one is able to repeat an exercise under the same conditions. This endurance is presented as general, whole body; localized, in a specific muscle group, arms or legs; strength, tolerating a specific workload or maintaining high intensity in the exercise. Examples: high shot on goal potency at the end of a game. Take a look at some examples of activities that develop general and localized muscular endurance and strength. Activities in the fitness room. When considering the number of repetitions and sets of exercises, you must take into account the fatigue factor and not overload the work on any particular muscle group. Work in circuits. This training is characterized by the changing of machines after a set period of time or set number of repetitions. Work in pairs. The player that is in the recovery phase between exercises helps his colleague before starting his next exercise or set. Supporting one's own body. Circuit with time limit for each exercise. Station 1. Sit-ups with medicine ball. Station 2. Push-ups. Station 3. Throwing the medicine ball with the feet. Station 4. Burpee. Bend the knees. Support from the hands on the ground. Crouching. Extension of legs behind. After touching the ground with your feet, return to the crouching position. Stand up, extending the legs and torso. Jump, and restart the movement by crouching in such a way that the exercise is uninterrupted. Station 5. Sit-ups. Station 6. Trunk extension lying stomach down. Station 7. Stand up, extend the legs, restart the movement by crouching in such a way that the exercise is uninterrupted. Note, a variation of this circuit. Everyone in the group does the exercise at the same time. Speed. Speed is the most important attribute for a futsal player after strength. Practicing skills such as quickness of movements with and without the ball, dribbling, passing, shooting, and stopping with or without a change of direction will start to develop speed. This will also help the player execute the skills at greater speed and recognize situations quicker, so that he will be able to perform the skills quicker in game situations. Speed is not only how fast a player can run short distances, but also the ability to perform specific movements in the least possible time. They can be divided into speed of reaction, the ability to respond as fast as possible to a stimulus or signal. Speed of movement, which is achieved through frequent training of bursts of speed. Speed of execution, the quickness with which the player can perform a specific skill or move. Let's take a look at some practical examples of activities that develop speed. Speed education, run around cones followed by sprints. Skip, raise one knee and touch the ground with both feet simultaneously. Run with high knees. Lean torso forward. Rapid leg movement, lifting the legs towards the back. Run using wide steps, big jumps. With the torso completely extended forward, run as fast as possible. Stomp the feet with alternating hip elevations. Lateral movement with leg and hip twists to the right. Lateral movement with leg and hip twists to the left. Basic speed and acceleration. This exercise can be carried out on an athletic track or something similar. Activities: sprints of 50 meters. Sprints of 30 meters. Sprints of 20 meters. Suggested activities before training with the ball. Speed challenges and chases. With the help of a partner holding on by the waist, the player will drag the partner for 10 to 15 meters, and then when the partner lets go, the player will sprint for another 10 to 15 meters. Note, it is important to train running with changes of direction and ball handling at high speed. On stairs or grandstands, go up 15 or 20 stairs at high speed. Note, speed should also be worked on hills, ramps, or other inclines. Overload will be linked to the inclination of the surface. Suggested activities: sprints of 10 to 20 meters uphill, sprints of 10 to 20 meters downhill. Speed endurance. Sprints, running to cones of different distances, similar to running during the game. Allow a good recovery period before starting the next set of sprints. When the player's time for each sprint reaches 20% above his best time for the activity, the player has reached his maximum repetitions of the exercise. Activities on the court. Move to the first mark, return to the starting point. Move to the second mark, and return to the starting point. Continue until the player has completed the set. Each set is 86 meters. In between each set, the player should walk or jog during the recovery period. Activity on athletic track or similar. Runs of 100 meters, 150 meters, 200 meters, with a walk or jog until total recovery, so that the player is rested prior to performing the next set. General strength, dynamics, and explosiveness. Strength is the ability of the muscles to overcome resistance, being directly associated with the speed of muscular contraction, which results in muscle strength. Dynamics and explosiveness. General strength is the overall strength of muscle groups as they work together to perform the techniques of the game. The strength required for each technique can be measured by testing the player under pressure. Here are some examples of activities that develop general strength. Fitness room. Suggestion. Neuromuscular adaptation. 3 sets, 15 repetitions. Light to medium weight, 50 to 60% of max. Intervals of approximately 1 minute. Slow speed, 10 to 15 different machines. Example. Muscular hypertrophy. 3 to 4 sets. 12 to 15 repetitions, medium to heavy weight, 70 to 80% of max. Intervals of approximately 1 minute. Slow to medium speed, 10 to 15 different machines. Examples. Strength. 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. Heavy weight, 90 to 100% of max. Intervals of approximately 2 minutes. Medium speed, 8 to 12 different machines. Example. Explosiveness. 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. Heavy weight, 90 to 100% of max. Intervals of approximately 2 minutes. Fast speed, 8 to 12 different machines. General strength. Supporting one's own body and medicine ball. Activities suggested with medicine ball. Low volume and high intensity. Circuits with one's own weight. Note: activities with the weight of a partner can also be done. Explosiveness is directly linked to speed and muscular contraction. The ability to accelerate from a still position or to perform a skill with maximum force requires strength as well as power. In order to work on explosiveness in the fitness room, the player must be training and developing neuromuscular adaptation, muscular hypertrophy, and strength. Here are some exercises that develop explosiveness. Explosiveness. Fitness room. Suggestion: 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions, heavy weight. Intervals of approximately 2 to 3 minutes. Fast speed, 8 to 12 different machines. Plyometrics. Double foot jumps up 6 or 8 stairs or the steps of a grandstand. Then jump up 12 to 15 stairs on one leg and 12 to 15 stairs on the other leg. As the player becomes stronger, he can do these exercises carrying weights. For example, holding 2 3-kilogram or 5-pound barbells. Elastic and barbell. Simulation of technical motion. For example, the goalkeeper putting the ball into play while holding a 3-kilogram or 5-pound barbell. Here the player goes through the technical motions of throwing or kicking with an elastic cord clenched in the fist or tied around the feet or ankles, and fixed at the other end to a wall or a railing. Dynamic strength is the ability to carry out movements or technical skills quickly and with great intensity. Let's take a look at some practical examples of activities that develop dynamic strength. Some suggested activities are technical exercises that require greater external endurance. For example, the coach asking for more and increasing the intensity of the exercise. More strength and/or speed for the shot on goal. Physical Conditioning and Testing for Futsal, Volume 2. Tips for training and matches. Warming up and stretching for training and matches. Warming up and stretching. First warming up with the ball in pairs. Passing 5 minutes. Stretching in place, 10 seconds per muscle group, 3 minutes. Passing, 2 minutes. Stretching in place, 10 seconds per muscle group, 3 minutes. Ball protection, one-on-one, 2 minutes. Stretching in place, 10 seconds per muscle group, 2 minutes. Beating an opponent one-on-one, 2 minutes. Stretching in place, 10 seconds per muscle group, 2 minutes. Shooting on goal, 4 minutes, left and right foot. Warming up without the ball. Coordination exercises. Half-court duel sequences. First jumping jacks with legs forward and backwards. Second, jumping jacks to the side, 2 to one side, then 2 to the other. Third, heels to the back. Fourth, knees to the front. Fifth, go forward, jump with 180-degree twist. Sixth, circular hip movement to the right, then back on the left. Seventh, stretching in place, 10 minutes. Eighth, restart movement within the court with greater intensity, jogging. Ninth, jump and head. Tenth, Go forward. Jump with 180-degree twist. The 11th. Pick up speed at the coach's command and jog. Moving around and getting open. Third, warming up in game simulation. Suggestions. Small group of 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. Time, 7 to 9 minutes. Using the half court and stretching 10 minutes. Concentration and display of group unity. After the warm-up, moments before the match, the group huddles to transmit strength and collectiveness for the match that is about to start. Fitness testing for futsal. Guidance for diagnosing and evaluating the physical element. Aerobic test, 2,400 meters. Margaria, physical evaluation test. The test consists of running 2,400 meters, 6 laps around the track, in the shortest amount of time possible. The player can run or walk. The time to be considered is the amount required to go the whole distance. In the formula shown, D equals distance in meters. Anaerobic test, 40 seconds. The test consists of cover the maximum distance in 40 seconds. The administrator of the test should verbally motivate the player to maximize performance. When the 40 seconds are over, the administrator whistles and the player must stay where he is, only being allowed to move sideways from the ending point. The test administrator marks the distance reached by the player. The greater the distance, the better the anaerobic capacity. The test should be applied as follows. Anaerobic test, 40 seconds. Track lane with the following intervals, 5, 10, 50, and 100 meters. Consisting of anaerobic test. Evaluation tools. Ribbon, cones, stopwatches, clipboards. Speed test, 50 and 30 meters. The test consists of speed test, 50 and 30 meters. Cover the distance in the fastest time possible. The test administrator should start the test with both a whistle and hand gesture. And during the race, he can verbally motivate the player to help him reach the best result possible. The tests should be held on a measured track with demarcation marks of 10, 20, 30, and 50 meters, consisting of speed test, evaluation tools, ribbon, stopwatches, clipboards. Comment: there exist tests with photocells that are extremely exact, but due to their high cost and availability, we prefer these more accessible ones. Diagnosis and evaluation of the physical element. Forward jump test. The test consists of jumping the greatest forward distance possible from a standing point, from behind the demarcation line, behind the playing field. The player can swing his arms and flex his legs before the jump. The distance reached should be measured from the beginning of the demarcation line to the player's heel closest to the line of the playing field. Diagnosis of the physical element. Abdominal strength test. The test consists of doing the maximum number of sit-ups within 30-second intervals. The player cannot take his arms from his shoulders and must always touch his knees with his elbows throughout the test. The counting is done by a colleague, and all non-perfect sit-ups are not counted. The player's starting position is lying down with the legs bent, the heels touching the buttocks, and the hands grabbing the shoulders. The colleague should be positioned in a way allowing him to hold down the player's legs to the ground. The test begins and ends with a whistle from the coach responsible for administering the test. Diagnosis and evaluation of the physical element. Anthropometrical tests. Weight, height, and body fat percentage with an accurate scale, altimeter, and body fat caliper. Which can be reused for future re-evaluations. We hope that these tools will make it possible for the coach to refine his group of players, taking them to a higher level of athletic performance. It is important to highlight that the coach should be aware of creating a correct balance between the volume of the workout load, taking into account the suggested objectives and the overall time frame of the physical preparation. The suggested workouts for the development of the many physical abilities have been demonstrated by players 13 to 19 years old from the Magnum Augustiniano School of Belo Horizonte. They play at both the city and national levels, are promoted by Mineira Futsal Federation, and also occasionally nationally by the Brazilian Confederation of Indoor Soccer in the many scholastic futsal and soccer championships. When working with players, first of all, one must make the player aware of the importance of flexibility for the muscles, training, correct eating habits, and rest, 8 hours, more or less, of sleep. And it is a joy to be part of a futsal team. When working with players at the under-19 level, the coach, with a bit more time available, might have 2 daily workouts, 5 to 6 times a week, and thus optimize all of the abilities, giving emphasis to certain strategic elements determined by the coaching staff, and also individual attention to the weaker players within the group. During the training sessions, the conditioning coach must take on a demanding posture, which at the same time must be one of trust and friendship, because for physical workouts, the performance demand must be personal, so that the player's motivation does not drop, and with it, the quality of the workout.